Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering. Here we have a Burn Mirror match, a deck that is super accessible, probably cheaper than, I'm guessing a lot of standard decks. I don't even know how much standard decks cost. It's a money pit. You buy the cards and then they go down to zero. Whereas you buy a Burn deck, it's going to be good for a very long time in Legacy, as we see here. Both decks undefeated in round 2. Ending up in the feature match, we've got a Rift Bolt versus a Goblin Guide. Chain Lightning goes to John's face, and it looks like he's going to have to be on crowd control here, taking out the Goblin Guide. No, he's going to stay the course. He's going to go face. We'll see if that works. That Goblin Guide's going to accumulate a lot of damage, and the Chain Lightning is going to take him out. Okay. And now suspending another Rift Bolt. So 4 cards left in hand. If they all represent 3 damage, then this could get pretty close to death. Lava Spike. And that Taiga. Boy, that almost looks like CE. John, if you see this, let us know what type of Taiga that is. If it's FBB or what. It just kind of looks like a CE version to me. We've got Exquisite Firecraft going upstairs. John down to just 2. Would be an impressive flurry of spells here to actually get the job done. Fire Blast floating 2. Skewer the Critics. Oh, not Skewer the Critics. The Light Up the Stage. Getting another Fire Blast. And Anti-Burn spell will do as John falls to Lava Spike in a very fast game. They often are. Burn versus Burn. Typically going to be just all-out aggression. And creatures do add up to be a lot of damage. You know, a turn 1 Goblin Guide can potentially do 4 to 6 damage, which is so efficient for just 1 red when we're talking about just a race to 0. Burn not doing anything fancy. Just killing your opponent as fast as possible since day 1. It's actually one of the reasons why we have the deck construction rules as they exist back in the day. Very first Magic decks, you just built whatever you had. Like, there was no real rules. Very few rules. The 40 card rule came into effect very, very early on, and then shortly after adopted the idea that how about you don't just play a deck full of lightning bolts? We'll make it so you can only play 4 of any given card. But 4 lightning bolts back in the day was a thing you could do. You could run Wheel of Fortune if you were fortunate enough. Black Lotus as well. Those early days of Magic. Of course, Plague Rats was another deck that people enjoyed quite a bit, but they did bring that back with Relentless Rats, with the text on it allowing you to play any number. And I suppose they've done the same now with Lightning Bolt, kind of returning to the roots, but that one's 3 mana. What is the name of that card? It's from Strixhaven. Draconic something. I'm sure someone can let us know in the comments, but there is the new 3 casting costs. Each opponent loses 3 life or does 3 damage to each opponent, and you can pack any number of those. And 2 damage coming in off a Goblin Guide, I presume. Though that art doesn't register with me. I'm more used to the art Heather has there. Monastery Swift Spear. Oh, but no follow-up for mana. Fumbling with that second land drop is big. Now, you don't necessarily need your 3rd land drop in this matchup. Sometimes you don't want it, but you definitely want your second one. It's going to be really difficult to play out everything efficiently without use of a second land. And then, of course, Fire Blast isn't usable without 2 mountains. So let's see what happens. Another Swift Spear. A lot of efficiency for just 1 mana. But yeah, he really, really wants another land. Stomp. KOing a Monastery Swift Spear instead of the Goblin Guide. Interesting. I don't know if Heather's valuing the potential card off of the Goblin Guide, or just concerned about the extra damage that the Swift Spear will reflect once another land is drawn. It'll only hit for 2 next turn. There's also the possibility of Swift Spear being difficult to manage with the Bone Crusher Giant, or the Stomp side of Bone Crusher Giant, given that it can grow so easily. For example, you try and take out that Swift Spear and they respond with a Lightning Bolt. That's a disaster. You really don't want to be in that situation. Heather, I believe at this point, considering whether or not to cast the Bone Crusher Giant. That is in exile. And it would be a pretty solid wall. John's going to have to target it with Chain Lightning. He'd take 2 damage from that, but then he would be able to crash in for 4. All of this stuff Heather's got to calculate. It's a little bit of a puzzle sometimes when you're playing Burn, just exactly how the cards might fall. And looks like a Lightning Bolt and a Chain Lightning, so if John does use a Chain Lightning, Heather can bounce it back. So we've got some, as far as Burn goes, we've got some complexity to consider. And especially when you're on a feature match, I think most people feel a little bit of an extra need to try and play as well as possible when it's being captured on camera. Here we've got Chain Lightning and Eidolon, which can potentially trade, and not swinging with the Goblin Guide. Gonna look to trade that off, perhaps? Or at least force John to waste some burn on it. Chain Lightning. Clears the Eidolon. And Heather's probably going to be fine trading here. She does get the peak. It's a Searing Blood. Actually, once you see the Searing Blood, it's very tempting to just let the damage come in so you can clear it on the following turn. Otherwise, Searing Blood is going to be dead. But Heather's life total dipping very low. Lots of ways this could have been played. It's one of the things I love about having matches on camera is the ability to go back and really examine your lines and see if there's any potential holes in your logic or tactics that could have played out better. And that's not always, it's not just about what could have won that particular game. It is about nailing down kind of those larger concepts. Because there are times where a misplay can win you the game. It's not statistically the correct thing to do. It just kind of works out. Really honing your play. Three cards left in hand for John. 4 damage comes in. He is down to 10. Heather gets to see the upcoming card. And can she do 10 damage? I mean, Bolt, Fire Blast is traditionally how it's done. She's got the Searing Blood. She can wait for that extra mana. Ooh, nice little extra land there. And Searing Blood takes out this goblin, does the 3 damage. Now only 1 burn spell necessary if John stops his forward progress right here. However, he's got a Chain Lightning, taking out one of the Goblin Guides. 2 damage comes in. He's now down to 5. Very tense. Exquisite Firecraft will put him down to 1. But he gets the turn with 3 cards in hand. Can these do 7 damage? Can these do 7 is the only question. Just a Bolt and a Fire Blast would do. Chain Lightning. And he goes out on his shield, throws out a Chain Lightning. Heather bounces it back for the win. And that is the way to go out. John going out in style in a burn mirror. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.